TheSovereigntyNetwork.com.
Hello and welcome to Radio Agora. I'm joined today by the wonderful Dylan and the wonderful Carl. They're both wonderful. Why? Because they're joining me here today to discuss the Mandela Effect. I had a friend send me, his name is Shane. I guess he's way more popular and more opinionated than we are. A couple million views discussing this effect. It's not an effect. It's actually an error. It's bad. Okay, so basically what it's talking about is that there's some kind of conspiracy about things we all remember. All right, he discusses a couple things in particular. I took notes, so I always do.
Oh, you always do.
All right, if you're going to talk shit, you might as well know what you're talking about.
Right.
So, essentially, the Mandela Effect. It's a supposed anachronism. It's against the order of time. Well, time doesn't really exist, so it can't. Yeah, but essentially, it's a collusion. It's a conspiracy of collective memory misrepresenting something. So, say, do you remember the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears? It's the Berenstain Bears, or Oscar Mayer versus Mayer. There's all these things. He talks about all these other different things as if each fallacious idea and each error in human judgment and poor marketing choices somehow represents another nail in the coffin of nothingness. I think it's ridiculous, especially to attribute it to time travel. Time travel. Dylan, you want to take on time travel?
Time travel. First off, it's Bodhi. Says time doesn't actually exist. It's mentioned. It's a matter of convenience for understanding what's going on. That way I know I have to be at work at 9 a.m. in the morning, but really 9 a.m. is not the same 9 a.m. it was yesterday because never at the same time, we're never in the same place. Everything's freaking moving. You can't travel to something that hasn't happened. You can't travel to something that doesn't exist. The past is gone. It's gone. That's it. All we have of it is what we call human history, which is, as Bodhi likes to say, the longest game of telephone. The future hasn't happened. You're in the present, experiencing the past, headed forward. Can't go anywhere else. You're here.
Now,
get over it.
You're watching this video right now. It's a conscious decision to be. And what I really think is going on, well, Carl, I mean, you thought this was quite an idea. You thought this was interesting, right?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Like I said, there's millions of people who are watching this, all these videos and everything. And, I mean, it's a hot topic right now. I can think of several people I know personally who have talked to me about it. And I think a lot of it comes into different dimensions and things like that more than time existing here. And again, I don't know much about it. I can't say that I know more than the average YouTuber or reader on the internet. But in reality, I do think, I mean, there is a lot going on with different dimensions and fucking ripping through different layers, and I believe what they're getting at is that there are different dimensions going on, and some of them are very similar to what we're seeing right now. And again, wait. Who knows if this exists? Right.
What are we seeing right now? Because I haven't seen shit.
Right. No, I agree. And that would be, I mean, this is just what I'm saying that people are talking about. If we're really going to talk about the subject, like, this is what people are saying is like a common what is going on, and it has to do with ripping through different dimensions. And if you rip through at a different point, you may rip through in the past, and they're going to come up to and all these different things. And I don't know. I do understand what you say by time doesn't exist. I mean, I've understood that for years. But at the same time, you could go to the point that reality doesn't exist and none of this exists. It's just all within my being. If there's a being, if what I believe I'm seeing is a being, I mean, you could go to any extent. I mean, you could take it anywhere. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot to it. And I know that some interesting things are happening at Fermilab and interesting, I don't know. I think there's a lot more to it than just a quick assumption that, oh, this is just complete bullshit. But maybe that's just me.
Well,
go ahead.
If you want to look at the history of it, this quick research here, the term was coined by a paranormal enthusiast, Fiona Broom. So she and other people remember Nelson Mandela dying in the 1980s rather than 2013. She argues that common memories, which appear mistaken, could be explained by the existence of parallel universes that are able to interact with each other. And of course, a common discussion regarding the effects of misremembering of parts of marriage. And I want to go back to something I used to watch when I had a big belief in paranormal. It was called CAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society. They always, I think they actually started off kind of legitimate. And they always approached this thing of debunking everything. And one of the things you could do is you could bring someone in a room and you could start to describe a smell that you didn't actually smell, and people would start to agree with you and be like, yeah, I smell it too. I think this has a big ploy in that. People just have this want to agree natural tendency or whatever it is, that they don't want to be left out or whatever.
And that's
push forward.
That is way more documented. That is way more documented and way more of an effect than whatever they're attributing to time travel and dimensional shifts and all this stuff that no one has any evidence of.
Right.
How are you talking about what doesn't happen?
I'm sorry, your picture's on Facebook of some guy supposedly with a cell phone and a Charlie Chaplin cartoon is not evidence of anything.
Nice. Yeah.
It's evidence. It's Photoshop. Somebody's better than me. And it might not even be Photoshopped. You might really be holding something up with zero things.
And I have
it's my watch ticking.
Right. And I'm gonna take a stab at all that. And I have a bit of an experiment in the works, but I'm not gonna reveal it because none of you will know. Because I'll show you just how weak all of your arguments are. Essentially, you're trying to attribute something you don't understand, which we will describe. I will describe as ignorance. You're trying to describe ignorance with a conspiracy far greater than what any one source could have been. You're attributing one thing to too many, and you're necessarily dividing it and then using that as proof. That's horrible, not science. Ugh. The idea of collectivism, the wanting to belong. There's far more studies on that, necessarily dictating how people respond. Just because everyone remembers something differently. I mean, what's a collective memory? What the fuck is that? No one's remembering the same exact thing. Everyone's going to describe it a little bit differently. Is that a sign of multiverse theory? Oh, let me talk about this. There is one universe. Universe means all containing. Universe, all that is. There could not be a multi-universe. It wouldn't be a universe then. You got to realize what the terms are trying to describe before you start fucking tossing them around. It's silly. It's silly. Because you could just say that the universe is infinite very easily. There's probably even equations for it. It's called the Mandelbrot set. It's a fractal. Oh my goodness, that has evidence. That's a thing that exists. It's a bit strange that you'd be attributing it to multi-universes and rifts and shifts and of stuff that you don't even know. And basically, you're seeing very poor marketing. People that remember Curious George with a tail and they had a toy or whatever, guess what? It probably wasn't actually branded as Curious George. It was probably a monkey your mom told you was Curious George. Right? And any of these movies you remember saying certain things and going back and it's different. Guess what? Linguistically, they made the filmmakers or the actor in the moment or whatever made a conscious decision to say something. You remember it differently because that's the nature of language. You hear what you want to hear. When everyone shares that, they tend to agree. Why? Because they want to belong. And now this gets perpetuated over time. You take Mandela being reported dead as an error. Great, that happens all the time. That doesn't mean he actually died because someone penned it in a book. It means someone made a mistake or they were trying to sell something and it was convenient at the time. And no one noticed because it's some obscure reference that some nerd spent days digging through old newspaper articles trying to find, looking for, creating themselves. It's absolutely absurd.
I'm just reading through some of these examples on the websites.
Let's knock them out of the park. Batters up.
Oh, yeah, they're ridiculous.
Was it Tiananmen Square, memories of young man being run over by a tank. Go into this. Recently, visitors have mentioned Tiananmen Square and Tank Boy. The following are some many comments. Blah, blah, blah. I remember Tank Boy getting run over. My husband doesn't. We Googled it. So you remember the guy getting run over, but your husband doesn't. Okay.
So right now we just...
All this is people just remembering the same event differently. It's a matter of perspective.
Right. It's a matter of your awareness. You know, the limitations of awareness. How you choose to be, how you choose to experience. You don't have full control, but you have some control.
Sky, the sun, many people have commented about dramatic changes in the sky. They're not sure if it's Mandela Effect or something else. Maybe it's dramatic changes in the sky since
Are you talking about chemtrails?
Let's not dig into that. Our little community will flip their shit if I start talking about chemtrails.
The Earth is round. I said that. Actually, it's not even round. It's not flat. Now just fuck everybody up.
It's not flat or round. It's actually eccentric, just like all the
Mother Teresa, the saint before 2016. That's just misinformation right there. Jif or Jiffy peanut butter? I actually don't remember. Jiffy, wasn't it?
No, it's Jiffy.
I don't remember either. And all this stuff is complete bullshit.
It's poor marketing. It's poor marketing.
I think the root of it is better based. The better conversation is in time travel. And I think you were making better points in that, Bodhi, than this. I mean, I don't know. The Mandela Effect is yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. I mean, yeah, I guess we should spend time on it because people do watch it's unbelievable how much people love it. But I think the basis is in time travel, and I think that's more, I mean, not that I really give a shit about that either, but I guess that's more of what the core of what is going on. I don't know.
And why time travel is so attractive.
How do you feel, Dylan? Look at his face.
I'm still reading these things. One of them, this is the last one I'll read. It's the top one. 51 or 52 states.
Are you fucking kidding me?
DC is not a state. But here's all the comments. All the comments are from people from other countries. I don't know how many provinces there are in Canada. I don't expect someone to know how many states there are here. It's easy to mistake Puerto Rico or a DC state. Ridiculous.
Right.
What do I think about all this? It's a bunch of bullshit.
It's an example.
Like a lot of conspiracy theories, and I'm not discounting all conspiracy theories, because all a conspiracy theory is a theory that someone has conspired to do something, which we as humans do every single day. That's all it is.
Collusion.
It kills the ones that actually have legitimate evidence to them with these blown up, no evidence at all. They have no evidence of it all except people's misinformation. People remembering something different. That all that is perspective.
It's an appeal to popularity and the commons.
Someone could have been colorblind. Maybe that's why the sky looked different. Who knows?
Right? Or
people are looking for it. Yeah.
Right. People are looking for it, and they're finding it in agreement with others. It's not there.
Well, and it's like the guy who made the video. I guarantee he made the video because he saw other people were getting tons of views making videos about it, and holy fuck. But then again, here we are making a video about it. So,
well, he works for a television. I don't know that he.
Oh my God! What just happened? Right? I know it's a harsh reality. I know.
Maybe someone will one day find a previous of this show, and it'll be proof of the Mandela effect.
Maybe we're helping. Maybe we're perpetuating.
Was it Radio Agora, or was it Radio Agorism? Oh, maybe I'll print a different one tomorrow, put it up, and you'll all be fucked up for months. And then I'll just edit all the videos, and then you'll have no fucking idea.
Sounds right. Yeah.
It's poor marketing decisions. It's poor branding. Because people are remembering your brand different than you intended. Right?
Like the first DRV logo.
Right. Everybody thought it was a vagina.
Right.
Everything I draw ends up having
and maybe it was. Maybe it was. But it didn't really exist. Anyway.
Right.
More importantly, the thumbnail and title will be Mandela Effect Exposed.
Serious Bodhi face.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Gotta be. Right.
Because I love thinking about the metaphysical and the absolute possibilities of the universe. But what I cannot tolerate is the sheer stupidity, the ignorance. You're sharing ignorance everywhere. Why? Because people have this really deep-seated feeling that, well, if we just wait long enough, time travel will be possible, and I'll be able to go back and fix all my fuck-ups.
Right. Right. And
Sorry,
it's a hope that it's a hope that our laws that we have now, you know, of gravity and all this stuff that we just don't know yet. And that eventually we'll have they'll break the laws that we know now, and it will. And yeah, there could be to some extent, but at the same time, it's like we have no idea at all. And to make these claims that, again, taking it back to how horrible the Mandela Effect claims are, it's like, come on now. Now we're just reaching for this stuff. And we've all seen the photos, like you said, the fucking... Charlie Chaplin.
And then there's one where a guy's like dressed retro in the middle of a bunch of like...
Yep, I've seen that. And the woman who walks and puts the cell phone to her face. Oh, is that the video you're talking about? Where she's walking and it looks like she puts the cell phone to her face?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that video again, it's like it could be fucking anything, and we want it to be, and we will make it that. You watch. In our minds, we will be convinced. And that's my biggest problem with it too, is you have to have that, you have to think, you know, with an open mind, but at the same time you have to fucking take everything with a grain of big fucking salt. Excuse my language, Bodhi.
Fuck. Thinking with an open fucking mind is not follow, because I know how it goes. I used to be one of those 9/11 conspiracy theory guys, real into it.
Right.
And I thought it was an open-minded thing, but in all reality, I was falling into a trap. I was just following the theory. I wasn't taking a step back and saying, wait, maybe this is all bullshit.
It's a fucking theory. No, and I love that kind of stuff too. I love watching conspiracy videos. That's awesome shit. If they're worth anything.
Right.
But most times, like you said, I will get sucked in too if it's good video production even. I'll be like, wow, they're making a great case. And then you examine the same photos from somebody else's point of view and you're like, oh my God, how did I miss that? And that's a great thing that everybody should do is every time you fucking hear anything, you look it back up online and you do the opposition. Or why isn't this time travel? Why isn't that guy in the cool band shirt a time traveler? And I guarantee you'll almost have equal amount of websites.
Well, and here's the thing: I don't have to say why. I don't have to explain what it is. It is what it is. You're attributing meaning that isn't there. You're attributing evidence as on something that it's not there. It's not there. If it was,
everyone has an idea of videos and pictures. It's just
well, and I like to do. I do think that an open mind is key. I like
an actual open
all of techno. I mean, if you go back 200 years ago, and you told them what we're doing right now, people would be like, "You're out of your fucking mind. It doesn't exist. Computers don't exist."
Yeah, and that's fine.
But a few people may have theorized the idea, and at that point it might have been a conspiracy theorist or theory. But I mean, again, there is stuff that's tangible and realistic, and from our own understanding we can grant it somewhat of we can grant it some fucking credit. We can give it right.
There's got to be something there, though. There's got to be actual.
Yeah, there's evidence.
And maybe that's another great talking point.
Right. Let me make a point about that. Essentially, it goes back to the concept of science. And me and Dylan talked about this a couple days ago. The idea that it's not really science if you can't do anything with it. Take all your theoretical bullshit. If it's not designed into an experiment and it has nothing to do with moving anything, it doesn't do any work, it's not science. It is not scientific. The whole purpose of science is to understand the world and the forces and describe them in a fashion that is useful to do work. None of these fucking conspiracies do anything. Whether it's your 9/11 controlled demolition bullshit, which would be one of the most elaborate demolitions ever pulled off.
Oh, it's not even started.
Let alone
it was amazing though.
Let alone by one of the most incompetent governments in the history of mankind.
Whoever did pull it off, it's amazing though.
Do you want to know how we win wars? Oh, well, one, we don't. Two, sheer chaos. That's it. We're just fucking unpredictable.
That's enemy. Oh.
Can you say that again? That was a little.
There's quotes from us, or quotes from the enemy about that.
Yeah.
I think it was a Japanese admiral who said that. It was like the reason that the U.S. Army does so good at war is because war is chaos and they practice chaos every day. It's because we're completely disorganized, no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. So it works out in war.
Right. Especially if they went through all the trouble to spy on and capture our plans. Guess what? By the time you get to the fucking battlefield, it doesn't even apply. We're already fucking way over there or something and just doing something completely different. Because someone got the wrong fucking message. Started dropping bombs on the wrong town.
Right.
Most of all of these fantastical ideas are attributed to misfortune and essentially tragedy and success. And we use this as people use this as a kind of like a It's like their hope being projected that there's something greater than themselves that they can, harness someday maybe and be powerful or understand better or be special or do magic or it's hopeful, it's cute, but you're wrong. And I can say you're wrong because you don't have any evidence.
No evidence at all. Positive claim, burden proof. You don't have any.
No. The only thing you've gone to prove is that more people choose ignorance over actively seeking truth or paying attention to things that actually matter. Does it really matter if someone's time traveling or there's a time traveler getting into the Large Hadron Collider and preventing some experiment? No.
And you know what? If they are, I hope they keep doing it because there's clearly a reason.
Right.
I'm just going to trust your judgment.
And in all honesty, if you were a time traveler and you were going to interrupt the experiment, why don't you just go back a little bit further to the planning board?
Right.
And cancel the project.
Right. No, I'd agree. That's all the gaps and problems, definitely. Like, none of that makes any sense.
Maybe it's just a sorry-ass excuse for the fact that they're not getting anywhere.
Right? They need attention. They need to drum up support. They need to make this thing fantastical so that they can get more funding from stealing from their own people.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But this whole, I did a TSN graphic, don't worry. I got TSN graphics, right?
Oh,
this whole idea of time travel.
I love that.
Here's, in my opinion, how time travel could be possible, at least in both directions. The green represents time. As a beginning and an end, it would have to exist.
In our dimension, right?
Right. Therefore, it can move back and forth. But here's the truth. This is the void where you are. You can't move back and forth. Sorry. I hate to break it to you. You can cut off your future, though. Kill yourself.
That's pretty much the only decision you really have.
Right.
That's the only freedom you have. Essentially.
We here at the Agora and the Sovereign Network do not promote suicide.
Oh, God, no.
Thank you, Dylan. That was neat.
However, make your own choices.
I don't blame. Yeah, it is what it is. Just don't be a dick about it. That's my primary message today. Stop being such a dick. Why?
Is there a T-shirt about that already? I believe there is.
It says, "Try not to be such a fucking cunt."
The link below. You'll see the link below.
Yeah, link below in the comment, or not even in the comments. It'll be in the description.
Right.
In the description. Above if you're kicking on Facebook.
There you go.
Makes my nostrils flare. Makes my nostrils flare.
Learn to cover the bases.
I just can't believe how willing are people to be wrong. It's great. Or not even wrong, just so mistaken.
Some of it is hope. An uneducated hope. I think that they want it to be. They really, like I said, they want it to be hope.
That way they can imagine some sense of control in their life.
Right. And the thing is they do have that already. And that's what's so sad, is that if they would just understand it right. Yep, exactly. Yep. It's sad. And I think all of us fall victim to it. I'm not, above that. I definitely do the same thing. I fall into stupid YouTube. That's why I already knew what this was all about. I've seen the videos and I gave them a view. But I mean, I don't know, spending too much time on it and is maybe not right, but
not when there's so much more work to be done.
Right, but again, acknowledging these things going on is very important to know they're going on. I mean, to be aware, like you brought up earlier, you have to be aware of it all. And I mean, I know that it's brought up a lot of thoughts in my mind, maybe to counter it. But those thoughts are not bad. I'm glad that those thoughts were brought up, So, I mean, and like you would say, everything happens. Everything is part of the evolution. Everything it's all part of the world we live in, the reality we live in. And some of it is bullshit.
Here's
But
the thing. It's part of the reality we choose to be in.
or let ourselves be in, almost.
As negative as I am, as much as I want to say, wow, you people are stupid as fuck, the reason I'm saying that is because I don't want you to fall into those traps. There's no reason to waste your time. There's so much more work to actually be done. There's so much wrong with the world. There's so much harm being done. And you're wasting your time trying to figure out if Darth Vader even said Luke.
Right, which is very important. Ask Dylan. He's a Star Wars fanatic.
He didn't say Luke.
No, he didn't.
I know that one hurt you. I know that one went to your core. You were like, oh, fuck.
He didn't say Luke. No, let me follow that.
Well,
Like, I have a British accent.
Watch the videos.
I
They're all over. No, I know.
And no,
I think-
right there.
But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And I forgive you. Just please, dude, don't quit your day jobs.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But I would say too that much of what I believe hasn't necessarily. I believe in. I've studied several religions, and I take parts of different things, and I build my own understanding. And a lot of that I can't say that I physically can prove, but I don't know. I'd say that your own understanding, your own. Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Robinson. But I don't know. I just think it's a fine line of knowing, assuming that you know, and being open to things, and then being open to stupid things, and knowing that you're wrong, and knowing those things are stupid, and then also not being too close-minded and open, because we've all gotten to this understanding by being open to certain things. And so an open opinion and an open mind is good, but
Don't close
asserting that is almost closing it to a certain extent. To say something is wrong and can't be is not a good thing to always just assert. There's a possibility of anything. And I would assert that more than anything. Is the likelihood more so than others? Yeah, probably.
Well, it depends.
But is
on the
something
evidence.
Right.
impossible? Well, yeah, but evidence to what? We're going to take it back to actual science evidence, because then we could get some fucking physics experts on here saying, I can prove to you that there is some evidence of other dimensions or whatever. We could have there are conferences with fucking speakers for 15 hours a day proving there is some evidence of other. I'm just saying we don't to claim that it's one thing or the other.
We're not.
A little bit.
All I'm saying is no.
I'm saying there isn't evidence. Where's the evidence?
I would agree that it is YouTubers trying to create evidence out of nothing is what the Mandela Effect is. But am I open to anything? And is that within the realm? It is definitely within the realm. When I hear as much as I do about different things, definitely within the realm. Definitely. But Dylan, we can take it back to anarchy and voluntarism. Bum, bum, bum.
Voluntarism is not achievable. I will say it on the Agora radio show. It is not achievable.
If we bring up that to the most common person, they would more likely choose aliens than us living in an anarchical society. To the average fucking person at McDonald's or anywhere else, they would be like, oh no, aliens exist. Us actually being able to voluntarily cooperate, that's insane.
Let me let you in on a little secret.
And I'm just saying.
Let me let you hold on before you continue. Let me let you in on a little secret about anarchy and an anarcho society. It's already here.
That I understand. No, I get that.
It's already here, people.
I get that. But again, it's a level of understanding. We get the fact that we are living within that.
No.
But
it's a level of awareness and choice.
Right. and understanding. If you're not aware, it's because you don't understand what's going on. And
I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what's going on.
You can't be aware of something that you don't know is going on. You have to understand what you're seeing.
You can observe.
No, you don't. The
observations are not dictionaries.
Definitely to put a title on it.
No, let me throw something out there. The Vikings used to shoot at the planet Mars because they thought it was a demon. They were aware of it, but they did not understand it.
And they were
aware of things that you do not understand.
They were using it for work too. They were using their observations and doing something about it. That was their level of understanding. But their understanding was kind of useless.
Yeah, it was completely. They were just wasting. Yeah.
Especially when you just walk a couple 100 yards out and just go pick up your arrow again. I don't know what the fuck they thought they were shooting.
It's just going into the water.
Well, we don't know the effect. We don't know what they might have actually been shooting at. Maybe it did have an effect that we didn't see.
They had quite an extensive use of
just because the arrow shot through the air to our own understanding and hit the ground, it doesn't mean that it did change something in their own environment that they visualized that we didn't know about.
Well, if we're going to make the claim that they shot arrows, we would have to point at the land where the arrow was.
Right, but what they shot in the sky may not have been something physical that actually took the arrow and changed its direction.
They ate mushrooms and went into battle and fought dragons.
So we're going to argue that what you see on mushrooms doesn't actually exist?
No, what I'm going to say is that what you see on mushrooms, you can't evidence. You can't give evidence of.
All right, so then it takes more than one person to make it evidence?
It doesn't matter how many people believe it. That's a false claim.
So then if you see it on mushrooms and you believe it happened, then that would make it evidence, right?
It occurred in the confines of your conscience.
So then what makes it evidence?
It's to you. This is what I talk about.
Right. Then that would make it evidence. That's my point.
But you can't hand me anything.
It doesn't matter. So you're saying it takes more than one person to make it evidence?
No.
It has to be tangible?
It just has to be tangible. It just has to be tangible.
So what if you witness something in the sky? What if it appeared for 2 seconds? You have to take a picture to make it evidence?
Bodhi right now, right? I can't actually prove to you that Bodhi exists in your own conscious. You already know that.
Right, I agree.
However, this video, when it's recorded and edited and put out, is evidence that this did occur.
To you.
To anyone who chooses.
In your reality, if your reality is true and I'm actually a physical person that actually saw it too, but in your reality, you believe this is happening. Right, and same with your mushroom trip. This could be a mushroom. You could be sleeping. Right,
it could be. But the video will show evidence that it wasn't.
And that's it's what you're willing.
Is not evidence that he exists. Only
if I am actually real to you, Dylan.
Only if you accept the evidence.
Right.
And act upon it. The only evidence that exists is what you act upon.
Sure.
What you act upon. That's all that matters. What the universe changes because the universe is aware of is the only evidence there really is.
Right.
In your reality.
No, I'm saying the universe.
Well, yeah, your universe that you.
No. I'm not saying.
Well, how can you prove that it exists?
I'm not trying to. I'm talking about.
That's my point.
I'm not saying you have to do anything about it. I'm not saying there's anything to be done about it. What I'm telling you is why people shouldn't be doing stuff about it. Because we are the word universe means the entire the entirety of all that could ever be. Think of that concept, everything. All the multiverses, all the bullshit you could possibly think of. Think of the unsegregated container.
Right.
That is what I mean by universe.
Point, and that's the problem with everything, is that everything has to have tangible limits and gauges. And that's my point, is that if you go to that extent, then you have to prove your own reality and that this is even happening right now.
There's no
To me, it could be happening. I don't even know if you guys are really there, and this is a figment of my own imagination.
Exactly.
And therefore, what I see in my own imagination would be proof to myself that it's real. And that's why you couldn't argue to somebody on drugs. You can't say to somebody on acid or anybody else tripping that isn't happening to them to that extent. You have to use a physical gauge that we all accept as a gauge of reality and evidence.
There's no have tos. There's no obligation. There's no, you can't say. I talk to, if I pass a guy on the street and he's tripping balls and I go, dude, you're fucked up, he might not even hear me. That's fine. It doesn't change anything. This is like, I had a conversation with, it was the end of the conversation with Jared. Well, I think it was. I got to check. But it's that a negative obligation isn't it's not an obligation. It's not an obligation. I don't have to not harm you. I just need to make sure no one sees me. Because who would apply the consequence? The universe? Time? Those things don't give two fucks or a shit. I'm sorry. It's only wrong if you get caught and someone's willing to apply a consequence outside of the actual physical action of whatever it is you think is wrong.
But are you saying if I rape a child and no one saw it, it's okay? What?
Not that I condone it, but that you can do it.
Right. You can.
It happens all the time, and it's a terrible thing.
You really shouldn't.
Shouldn't. Should is a lot different than can.
Yes.
And that's part of the horror of being human.
All human action should human interaction should be.
It's a question. It's a question.
Should. People.
It's a question, people.
Because you can't.
It's a question. There'll be a link in the description for that too. You want to buy my stuff?
It's okay.
You want to buy my stuff?
I put a lot of effort in those things. You know, there's a whole story and a language and everything behind it. I put a lot of effort into what a lot of people describe as ridiculousness. And it is ridiculousness. Absolutely. Because it describes what you can't touch with English. But that's another video. Sorry, people. It's just people, whatever you are, watching. The universe watching itself. Thank you, universe. Great viewers. Thanks. Yeah. Like, it's not that hard to understand. So can we put a lid on this crap?
Well, I see a dragon behind Carl. I don't know what's going on.
Right? Those are the nostrils.
Exist.
Those are the nostrils pulling through the wall.
It's in your mind. It's in your mind. But maybe that means it does exist. Who am I to say?
I love you, people. I love the universe. I love how silly it is.
Wrap this up.
Yeah, let's get on with our lives, huh? Mandela Effect. You named it after.
Yeah.
What did Mandela even really do?
Nelson?
Well, he didn't do anything.
Or what did he do for the science?
He didn't do for this. What?
I'm just kidding.
The science?
I'm glad you got it.
Mandela really didn't do anything. He just ordered a bunch of other people to. And then
he ended up putting a bunch of tires on people and lighting them on fire.
Holy fuck. Really?
Yeah, maybe that's the right-wing angle, and I shouldn't say that, but from what I heard, like, he was this big freedom fighter like Che who really killed a bunch of his own people. He was wrongly. Well, they say he was wrongly in prison for a long fucking time. So
he was pretty pissed off.
We should probably do a whole show on Nelson Mandela if we want to get into it. But
no, because he's dead.
There's tons of different points of view, and I don't know.
I guess we could if it's useful. If you think it's useful, Carl, I'll trust you this one time.
Well, he's a huge figure. He's an anti-apartheid revolutionary. He was huge in that. President of South Africa. First black head of the state and first elected in a fully representative democratic election. it was huge for South Africa, and then he went to prison for doing a bunch of stuff that people believed were, later in prison, and racial civil war. I don't know. We should do a whole show about it if we want to, but I don't even know if it's worth it myself. So,
I'll sit out on that one.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a show about a lot better stuff.
You can record an independent video about it.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Carl, you should produce a video.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. If that's what you guys want, I can,
No, you can produce a video on your own. I want to see you do it one time.
All right.
I want to see Carl. I want to see. I want to see KK.
That's why I reached out and was like, I want a director of video and all that. Yeah, so I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're coming up to 45 minutes. That'll give me time to put some commercials in between.
Well, this was fun. Yeah, hopefully we'll cut it down to about 10 minutes because there might be something worth watching there.
Yeah, I'll heavily edit this one. Don't worry.
And if I'm not in it, that's fine.
Next episode of the Agora will not feature Carl at all.
Yeah, no, he was in the show. You can just watch your responses. Like, who are they talking to? Anyway, this is
figure out who we're talking.
This has been Bodhi's Radio Agora.
No.
I don't know.
The Anarcho team. Oh, almost said ANCAP, right? Never. Don't worry about it.
I'm done.
Ain't gonna happen.
I'm so anarcho. I want to attribute everything to a hierarchy of economics.
Right. To me something. I'd like to just give my soul to ANCAP gods.
No,
oh my God.
I'm gonna
idea.
Go fuck yourself. I'm taking back the memes of production. All right.
No, we're making a meme of the idols of ANCAP, the status gods of ANCAP. Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Make them gold and make them. Oh yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I'll
already.
3D print them. I'll 3D print.
Right. We're gonna make idols out of the ANCAP gods that the ANCAPs worship. It's gonna be fantastic.
But we just can't let them know to worship them, and we'll just watch it happen.
Right, because making a religion out of anarchist capitalism is better than making a government, right?
That's about just as fallacious, yeah. Pick one, please.
God, whole new point. Anarcho-capitalism isn't a government. Oh,
I hope that the people actually, if they made it this far in the video, you're dumb. Especially if it's them that, yeah. And anytime I say pick one, it's mocking because it's silly. I'm not mocking you. I'm mocking the people that use that as if they're making headway in the community. And this is why I love Paul Gordon, because he cares about his means and he cares about what it produces at the end. How is this advancing peace and liberty? Always conscious, always aware, always willing to listen and work and do. Amazing. You guys should check out his videos. He does State Awaken. What's his other show? Or is that the same thing? He's on a couple different.
Paul Gordon. Check him out, though. He's the best.
I'll put a link in the description.
Right, well,
I'm terrible. I'm sorry, Paul. I'm just a commie. Just kidding.
No, but we all, I know I do actually appreciate all of this stuff. Like he's awesome.
I want to get him on here next time. I got a couple ideas, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah, we're all commies anyway, and unfortunately my producer informed me my contract's not up till April, so I just walk off.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
All right.
Show,
well,
right?
This was Bodhi, Dylan, and Carl. And this is Radio Agora. Watch out for the fallacies, folks. They'll bite you in the ass.
Powered by the Sovereignty Network. I know you hate it.
.com.
.com.
I get so many comments just about that.
I wish we could sound more like Alex Jones just for that. Rah, rah.